For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.
In the country at the moment where there's lack of opportunities for artists, the Dak Debut Program, which is a partnership between the Department of Arts and Culture and Business Arts South Africa, wants to change that. They've created a program that runs for 3 years and creates fantastic opportunities for artists. We have a chat to CEO Ashraf Joadin from BASA to find out a little bit more. You're listening to our social newscast with me, Sam Marshall. Ashraf, thanks. Talk to us about the second edition of the Dak Debut. You must be happy as the CEO of BASA.
I am ecstatic. Debut has really shifted the DNA of BASA because there has historically been on the landscape, on the funding landscape and the arts landscape, a kind of bar one funding where an artist has an idea for something, they get money and they do that something and then they apply for funding again. Because it's been about the money, and Debut is significantly different. Debut, as our head of programs, Mutsatse, indicated during the launch, is not so much about the money. I think Rory Sung, our MC for the event, also indicated that the money is a kind of catalyst for a particular minute in the program. But the real takeaway is the fact that we don't teach people how to fish with Debut. Debut is not about training the trainer. It's about way more than that. It's about training the trainer how to write a syllabus. It's about teaching the fisherman how to build a fishing rod. So it goes much deeper. It has really meaningfully changed the way in which BASA is nationally present, is able to reach people outside of resource areas where they are working with ABC's asset-based community development to understand what it is that artists want to do where they are. What are their dreams? What are their desires? What are their aspirations? What are their skills? What are the skills that they want to develop? So it's quite a significantly different kind of funding paradigm, which is not about funding. It's about equipping and skilling and capacitating people to achieve what they want to achieve, to give them the toolbox, the set of tools that will enable them to do what they want to do in their environment, where they are in the world. Historically, it's been about applying to a particular funding agency for some money to do a particular thing that aligns to a particular set of strategic objectives. This is not what Debut is about. Debut is really about the artist, about the emerging artist. It is about the idea. It is about being able to imagine a new future and understanding that people in the areas all over the country where they are understand those areas best. They know what needs to happen in their particular communities, whether it be about, generating enough capital to get a fleet of bikes to do their own version of what is now so popularly Uber, to help gogos in townships deliver knitted goods to their potential customers. I mean, there are just such extraordinary stories from the first round of Debut that I'm very excited about the second round. And it's really, it's very aligned to BASA's idea of being a catalyst. We're a small organization, a modest organization with modest resources. But again, our key impact is our ability to have a multiplier effect, to give people the catalyst that will enable them not only to help themselves, but to help those around them, to enable, facilitate, and support their particular communities around shared values, to enable meaningful social cohesion, to monetize skills, resources that are necessary for that community to move forward, to make a meaningful impact, to have a better quality of life. And I think Debut is humble and honest and listens in that way, as opposed to going, we know we've got the skills, we'll come in and we'll teach you how to do X, Y, Z. It's not that. Debut first does a very meaningful, deeply community connected round of research to understand where the successful participants are, what it is that they mean to achieve, and then to rally the necessary resources. We don't work with a blueprint. We are guided by our partners, and our partners in Debut are the participants, are the artists who want to make a meaningful impact in the communities where they are. It's not about moving people from one community in a peri-urban area to a rural, to a urban center, or from a rural area to an urban city. It's about understanding what the dynamic is of the particular place and space where artists happen to find themselves, and really working through the lens of what they see and partnering with them to achieve what it is they want to achieve, and not imposing value, not imposing outcome, but listening and understanding what it is that those artists who show potential in those spaces wish to achieve with where they are.
This edition, though, feels different to me because of COVID-19, this pandemic. How does the second installment reflect the pandemic and the changing landscape we're currently in?
So Debut was meant to launch roughly 3 months ago, just before lockdown happened. We've taken a minute to pause. We've taken a minute to do due diligence in terms of research. We understand that it's not as easy to meet and engage with people where they are, which was key. And to be honest, the team and I were quite perplexed in terms of how to achieve this key differentiating thing which makes Debut so different for BASA and so different for the other kinds of funding that is out there. But I think watching artists and creatives respond to the challenges of COVID has given us courage, has allowed us to explore the opportunities that are still there. What I loved watching in the launch today was our head of programs, Tumi, being asked, why is it different? It's not different. What we are doing is all of the resources and opportunities that are already there, we are redirecting into Debut. So sometimes so one of the things that was different from before was that we had sort of centralized facilitators who then went out into the different regions to facilitate people where they are. Quite simply, we've just decided to work with people who are already in the different provinces, who are connected to the communities where they are. So in fact, the gift curse of COVID has forced us to look at what's worked about the program and to amplify that. So we have now key partners, key facilitators in each of the regions who will connect and facilitate in the regions all of the things that worked about Debut. So there's a little bit that's different, but a lot of it's the same. The key thing is about not trying to. Debut was always never about getting the best of the country and bringing them to Joburg or Cape Town or Durban. It was always about working with people where they are, and this has just forced us to really interrogate how do we enable people where they are. And it's a very simple equation. We've budgeted for data. Participants will be given data. We have facilitators based in the regions as opposed to being deployed from an urban center. So these are, I think, are key things which shows us what has worked in round one. Some of the things that we learned in round one were just understanding that sometimes we need to be able to speak to people in a language that made sense to them as opposed to cut. So again, a key differentiator for this round is the fact that we're working in 4 languages, which hopefully covers some of our 11/12 official languages. Because sometimes you express yourself differently in a language which is not your mother tongue. So we're trying to move a little bit more towards that, working with where people are comfortable, where they are comfortable. And again, data is not easily available. This is a funded program, so we've redirected some of the funding available to make sure that everybody can apply to make sure that everybody who is selected to participate in the full program has easy access in that way. These are not new things. We've not invented them. And again, a lot of the agencies, organizations working in the creative space have already found these tools and resources, and we've simply packaged them together to be able to make them available to participants. So the program, again, we're building on the successes of round one, and round two aims to just have a broader reach. And we are absolutely optimizing on the ability which being online gives us, and quite simply to reduce barriers to access by making sure people have access to data. So if you're selected, you will be awarded the necessary amount of data to be able to engage with the program online.
Talking about funding and budgets, and I know your partner is the Department of Arts and Culture, but from a funding and a budget perspective, what are we talking about? How big is this project and how long does it run for?
Second round will run for 3 years, and it's being funded by the department to the tune of 10 million rand, which is significant. The numbers that we are hoping to turn around is at least 2,000 participants, which is 100 up from the 225 which we did in the first round.
That's quite massive. And just talk to me about why this is so important at the moment. The morale of the country is down. Job numbers have come in, 3 million unemployed, to a large percentage of those being women. People are looking for opportunities. They're looking for hope.
So key, Debut is about hope. Debut is about opportunities. And it's not about hope from the sky or opportunities from the ether. It's about working with what you have in your environment, to read the environment, to identify opportunities and say, I can make this work in my region. And it's about capacitating people with the skills, knowledge, resources, and funding to make a meaningful difference in their communities. So Debut has never been about some kind of like migration or movement of artists. It's been about capacitating artists where they are to enhance and increase the shared value in their community so that the entire community benefits and not the particular individual who happens to be selected for Debut. So one of the things we will be reading is the ability to have an impact on the community where you are. And I think that is that's a key differentiating factor for the Debut program, is that catalytic effect. It's not just about one artist, it's about the community which that artist resides in and the ability to influence and move that entire community. And that's what shared value and social cohesion is about. How can you take what you have, what you've been given or gifted, and make it meaningful and make it add value to everybody whose life you are able to touch or connect with? And again, this speaks to the core ethos of BASA, which is about, so mutually beneficial partnerships often sketches the idea of a very specific independent agency and a different specific independent art organization, and that's there. But we're really about community. So I wish to seek a phrase for the idea of expanding mutually beneficial partnerships to value, which, and I think that phrase is is shared value and social cohesion. How do we benefit the communities where artists reside? And I think the 80s tell us how that has benefited the country. Artists were able to be a voice, were able to shine a light, but artists can do so much more than that. There's a business and catalytic effect where artists are able to monetize for the benefit of the entire community, their skills, resources, knowledge, and vision for more than just themselves. Absolutely.
It's a social enterprise model.
Absolutely. I need to integrate that into my narrative about the Debut. Social enterprises. It's really about, it is about community, enhancing communities, elevating communities, making life better for all. Because BASA believes that arts, culture, and creativity is essential to the life and rights of every South African and can contribute to the country's growth, can contribute to stitching a new garment post-COVID, that we can find a new way which benefits all, where people are optimizing the skills and resources that they have for the benefit of themselves and everybody around them. And I think this is why Debut really has shifted the DNA of BASA. We don't think of ourselves as a funding agency. I mean, even our supporting grants are not your normal lens on a grant. We don't fund an exhibition or a production per se. We fund partnerships.
Ashraf, very quickly, artists that are interested, where do they go?
They go to www.basa.co.za. All of the details are there. You will find a WhatsApp number, and the WhatsApp, in fact, the WhatsApp bot which we've had built is the same thing that renews your license. So it'll take you through the process quite seamlessly. All you need to do is once you're on the BASA website and you find that number, you just text hi, and it'll seamlessly lead you through the process of applying. You'll upload a 1-minute video. It'll tell you everything that you need. We have very detailed, frequently asked questions on the website. So it's effectively a WhatsApp application to make sure that as many people as possible are able to apply without having to download, print out complete forms. You WhatsApp your interest, and our WhatsApp bot will take you through the application process.
Ashraf, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam.
That was Ashraf Jardine, CEO of BASA Business Art South Africa, talking to us about their program called Dak Debut in partnership with the Department of Art and Culture.